What are the most common reasons or patterns that you say no to the founders?
The motivation of the person, like why they're building it, is a super important variable. I mentioned this woman that's building virtual, organs for drug testing, and her motivation is, long term. She wants to solve cancer. Her grandparents died of cancer, and that, that is an unflappable determination. And not everyone has to have a story like that, but the founders that have this just unstoppable, inevitable drive and mission to be successful are the ones that don't stop when it gets difficult. There is a guarantee they're going to face incredible obstacles along the way. And those that are able to adapt and overcome those obstacles are the ones that are doing it for the reason that has meaning beyond just making money, or, not to say that it can't work if you don't have some kind of underlying motivation, but that's something that we notice. If you combine that with the intellectual horsepower and ability and demonstrated execution up until now and insane network to, unlock, all of these things culminate into someone that's, kind of unstoppable.
How do you test for ambitions? How do you know if those are real?
Look, I came from San Francisco, or Bay Area. I grew up in the Bay Area, right? I ended up in Brazil, sleeping on my co-founder's couch, married. My poor wife was, sleeping in the living room with me. We're, trying to have a baby. At the same time, I'm trying to get this thing going. I could have gone back to California, worked a job locally. My family had a small business that I could have, I spent 6 months working at before I made my way down to South America. Could have been very comfortable. Like, you've been to wine country. Like, this is like a nice place,
it's a
right?
Paradise.
So if I'm like selling the only asset that I have, which was an apartment, 99% of my net worth, I'm selling that. I'm convincing my wife it's a good idea to do this. She's down for the cause. She moves with me. We go to this foreign country. Neither one of us speak the language, and we're trying to start a family, and it's something completely foreign. I don't know. Let me ask you, do you think that's high conviction?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's your answer. So I think that I know what it looks like because I've seen it in myself, and I've seen it in the best founders. And I hate to be very generic, but you know it when you see it.
I think that what makes, like, when you think about best founders, when you think about best investors, it goes down to pattern recognition, right? That if you boil it down, it's going to be your personal experience of interaction with people, and just like observing tremendous number of data points, being it like other humans, problems, and so on and so forth. So that's why I think like personal experience in this type of business that you are in, especially in the earliest, like, it will not be substituted.
I will say that there's all types of profiles, because if I only went after the strictly like more charismatic, kind of motivated, profile of founders, I mean, I'm seeing more and more younger technical founders also with like just insane IQ also combined with EQ. And, that's a different profile. Like, that wasn't me. Like, I wasn't the smartest founder starting out. I wasn't like, a dropout, physics dropout from name the university, right? So there's also other patterns, and there's other personas that we look at. And we do have kind of like, at this point, a little bit of like, what's the persona? We don't have names for these personas, but we see them and we identify, oh, this is, so they're not all about the first persona that I described. There's multiple personas that can be successful. And I remember when Julio did that like report of like, I was in at Lunchico did that report about like the different personas. And I thought that was like a pretty revealing description. And it's something that we had been thinking about and talking about as a firm, what kind of bucket, what does this founder look like?
Interesting that you said now persona, because like when you think about the portfolios of great Silicon Valley firms, for example, founders funds, there are many similarities in terms of what kind of people they back. Like, they're very specific in terms of who their like founders fund personality is. Do you have anything similar in mind for what kind of people?
We're a very different firm than Founders Fund. Founders Fund does very few investments. They go extremely heavy into their investments. So like I would describe them as more of a thesis-driven fund.
Right.
And we're not that, and we also think that like success can come in many different packages.
How important is a fundraising skill or selling skill to the founders, and how important that is in your mental framework of evaluating founders?
I think that there's founders that excel at that naturally, that are very, very gifted in communication and understanding the psychology of how that works. I will say that it is not like an absolute requirement for us because it's a teachable skill.